This video is proudly sponsored by Gamersgate. Download games anytime, anywhere. Visit Gamersgate.com.
Hello everyone and welcome to Elder Speak. It is June 7th, Thursday, and the end of E3 coverage for this week. Randolph the Grey is still gone. This is Elder Geek editor and writer Trevor Faulkner, along with
Adam Maldonado,
Constant.
the guy that does these things with Trevor.
Because I don't have friends or really anyone to talk to. We're going to kick off real quick today with some of the news given to us, and hopefully you won't be bored. First off, Square Enix has announced an old-school Final Fantasy RPG called Final Fantasy Dimensions. It is 16-bit-ish, follows a lot of your favorite old-school Final Fantasy tropes, Warriors of Light, crystals, run around in a isometric environment, fight enemies that don't move. The downside to your beautiful memories of Final Fantasy goodness, this game will be released this summer on iOS and Android Marketplace.
Yes, and it made it a little bit less impactful, seeing as how they mentioned that this was the amalgam of a cell phone game that they had already released years back in Japan, sort of an episodic release that they now have sort of compiled together and given to Western audiences in the form of a touch game.
And if you still have feelings for classic 16-bit-ish Final Fantasy games, sick and tired of overly drawn-out cutscenes and paradigm shifts, then maybe if you have an iPad or an Android device, you want to check this guy out. It did look good from what I saw, but it just is really disappointing to see that kind of effort put into a touch-based iPhone game. You may disagree and think that that's actually where we should be going, but
It's true. Yeah, a lot of people do have their phones, and I suppose that most people's idea of portable gaming will then gear towards their iPhones and iPads and whatnot.
Moving along, covering some things that whenever we see a game that's been announced at E3 that we think looks really good, we like to call it out, and we wanted to call out Hawken today, Hawken, if you want to look it up on the internet. It is a mech warrior game with an economy system and full customizability. It looks really nice and looks like it plays pretty stupendous.
Yeah, plays really well, and just the ease of use that you get out of just the simple left and right click, right click being the primary weapons, left click being the primary weapon, right click being the secondary weapon, and just you are in a giant robot killing other people in giant robots. What is not to like?
I agree. I was a big fan of old school mech warrior, so I'm always happy to see mech style games come out. Trenches was one that was put out by Valve that was really good. So check that out if you get the time. Head on over to Elder Geek or head on over to one of your favorite search engine browsers and type in Hawken and see some of the trailers for that. Nintendo came out to discuss their Wii U, and apparently they're going to be watching what you're saying.
Yes. Now, they haven't really said specifically that they would censor comments. They have merely said that when people comment on their games or comment on other people how they do their levels, that there will be a delay in the comments so that it can pass through, I guess what they had said is some sort of filter or anything like that, because, Nintendo is very family friendly. And I'm assuming pretty much all of the consoles right now have some sort of filter where you can report someone if they're being, I guess, malicious in a verbal way. Mm-hmm. But I suppose Nintendo will be probably the most strict, seeing as how their audience is of the younger variety.
Yeah, it's a assorted prophecy of swear words and phallic symbols will not come true. But, I don't know, the whole idea of, it might be the American in me, people have been commenting on our show saying that we are the American show. But I don't know. I don't like the idea of Big Brother sitting down and checking out the words that I'm saying. I wonder how the delay will affect some gameplay elements. In some cases, when you think about it, they've really mostly shown off things where you like leave a comment.
Yes.
You don't so much show it as you play. I'm just interested to see how, like, because that'll hinder a lot of gameplay types that would involve you talking.
And then again, when I saw their sort of screenshot of what the comments would look like, my first instinct was that they were kind of annoying looking, because it had a guy who was Mario walking through the level where it showed the map points, and it was just littered with comments. And I was like, I can't see the map anymore. But I thought it would be funny if it was littered with comments that were all obscenities. that I can play.
Zone of Enders, they showed off the trailer for Zone of Enders HD, which is a game I've been like really salivating for.
Yes.
Because more so than even Metal Gear Solid, Zone of Enders has been my favorite Kojima production.
It's one that I'm sure all of you out there have wanted Kojima to work on, but Konami does not want to stop the gravy train that is Metal Gear Solid from rolling.
For those of you who saw the new Zone of Enders HD preview, it is essentially a 5-minute anime cutscene where they yell out Egyptian god names and animal names.
Yeah, and the thing is, I like anime, but I like that game, and when it came out on the PlayStation 2, I went, that game looks amazing. And I know there has been footage and screenshots released, but I clicked on the YouTube video and saw that it was 5 minutes. When I got to the 3-minute mark, I was like, they're going to end this in like 20 seconds, and I'm going to get at least a good solid minute and a half maybe of gameplay. No, I got all the way to the end, and I was like, that was an anime. Didn't even look that good. That was an anime with Dingo using his best grimace face, fighting Anubis, who really looked like a whiter version of my grandfather.
So if you are looking forward to Zone of the Enders HD, you can check out that 5-minute anime sequence that gives you no gameplay and no hope. We're all about crushing hope here.
We really are.
It's sad lives that we lead.
I might as well call Connor a Native American, half American again.
I thought, though, I wanted to spend a little extra time on today's show. I know a lot of you out there are mainly people who enjoy consoles, but I noticed last night the 3DS, Nintendo 3DS press conference showed, and I felt very strongly about it. Not so much about like the game lineup or what it was. If you were watching the Nintendo 3DS press conference, you may have had feelings reminiscent of E3, like in the 90s, how it used to be. I wanted to just talk a little bit about their press conference, and if we had to choose the winner of E3 this year, I would have chose the 3DS.
Yes, based on conferences alone, it not so much on the games or the system, of which I do enjoy both of, but simply the format of their presentation really took us back to what E3 used to be about, the games.
Yeah. If you didn't see it, Nintendo came out, and we'll cover it real quick. Their format was essentially announce a game, have a developer come out and speak, and then about a 5-minute demo sequence of whatever game they were talking about. They first centered on Castlevania Lords of Shadow, the new one for the 3DS, which looks spectacular.
Yes.
All I've ever wanted in the past 5 years from a Castlevania game.
Considering it is a 3DS game, it does look very good. I wish something like that would come out on the Vita, because I think it would look amazing.
Yeah.
But I think, it's going to do well on the 3DS, and I'm a big fan of that reboot for Castlevania.
It continues the story of Castlevania for the PlayStation 3 and other systems with Belmont's son.
Yes, you now fill the shoes of Trevor Belmont,
who is looking for his father?
No, he is looking for Dracula, who he knows killed his mother, and if you have all played the last game, that is Gabriel Belmont.
Yes.
I am sorry for any spoilers, but there is a statute of limitations. It's been out for a
Now,
long
it's a
time.
2D side-scroller. It looks fantastic, but the thing was, the entire time I watched it, I was watching, they have a button prompt, see, QuickTime events and the and it moves in and out of 2D to a pseudo 3D sequence. And the whole time I'm just going why can't I have a Metroid like this? Why can't I have a Mega Man like this?
Yes.
Why are you guys doing this to me? But I love Castlevania. The game looks fantastic. Check it out if you do have a Nintendo 3DS, because you're probably starving for games.
Yes, or if not, if you have any of the other consoles, the third, or the second actual, I guess, what they would call the actual sequel to Lords of Shadow is coming out, I think, next year.
Yeah.
For the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox.
Then they went right along. We won't spend a lot of time on these two, but they talked about Luigi's Mansion, Dark Moon, and then Paper Mario Sticker Star, which has some interesting mechanics inside of it as well.
Yes.
Then they went to the new Epic Mickey game that I mentioned on a previous show, which is actually the game I was referring to during that show was Castle of Illusion.
Yes.
Which for the SNES, which it's apparently entirely based off. The game still looks beautiful, like Disney lands. They were in Agrabah. They went around. That game, if you remember SNES style Disney games in general, because
Yes, it looks
Lion King
almost
was a
like
great game.
a Disney, an SNES game got sort of like an HD remake.
It looks really good. Check it out if you have any interest in your favorite classic SNES Disney games like Lion King and Aladdin and Castle of Illusion. Then they talked about Dream Drop Distance. Looks good if you like Kingdom Hearts. I actually was way more impressed than I wanted to be, because I've kind of hated Kingdom Hearts since Kingdom Hearts 2.
I have always enjoyed the Kingdom Hearts games. However, I no longer understand any of the story. As you know, I got Birth by Sleep, gave it to you.
I beat it.
Then, yes, you beat it. PlayStation 3 died, didn't even finish Kingdom Hearts 2. Fingers are crossed for an HD remake of like the first ones for the console, so I can actually get back into them. And then after that, read a Wikipedia page about
That won't help you.
About the convoluted
There are plenty
story.
of articles out there that explain what the hell is going on in Kingdom Hearts, and none of them make that much sense.
I need to at least strive to try and understand it. I'm hoping that they throw out everything for Kingdom Hearts 3, and they're just kind of like, yeah, those were like fillers, and we didn't really care about those.
The problem still, I mean, they have the World Ends With You characters, and they have the Worlds End With You music in the game, but that seems to be the only Final Fantasy characters they really showcased. They did have a Jeff Bridges in there.
That's true.
It's pretty awesome, but
I think at this point, Kingdom Hearts can stand on its own, with its own characters. It just seems to be a game that so happens to have Final Fantasy and Disney characters in it.
After that, they talked some about the video service, the new old Pokemon games that are coming out, and so on and so forth. But what's important to me is, in watching this conference, something that didn't happen to me during any other conference occurred. And that's that when the conference ended, not only had I seen games, which Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo all showed very little in games for me or for a wide audience. But at the end of this conference, I walked away wanting to play my 3DS,
Yes.
which it's been months since I've wanted to play my 3DS.
Yes.
And I felt that's what E3 is about. If you can go watch the Nintendo conference, if you care about any of the games that we've mentioned here, I feel like you'll see what E3 is supposed to be.
Yeah, when the guy came out and he said, well, I'm showing you now footage from Lego Batman 2, and the demo is now available. I really wanted to pick up my 3DS and go download the demo for Lego Batman. No other game that they have shown had made me want to pick up like a console or a handheld and play like a game. They didn't show Last of Us or anything like that, and I didn't think of a cool game that I had for PlayStation 3 or my other consoles and go, I'm going to go back and play that. The only conference that actually made me want to pick up and play a game was the Nintendo one for the 3DS.
So, I mean, that brought the most nostalgia to me. Watching Nintendo's 3DS conference, even though it had a lack of Animal Crossing and Fire Emblem.
Yes.
Fire Emblem was, Reggie Fils-Aimé did say that they are porting over
Yes.
Fire Emblem,
Which
but
I understand that Fire Emblem is probably not as popular here in the West, so they probably weren't going to have it in that conference. I can't really say the same thing for Animal Crossing because I do believe that is very popular here.
Yes, it is. I feel like that was the meaning of E3 was the Nintendo 3DS conference. And if you agree with us or you disagree with us, please let us know in the comments below. We'd love to hear your opinions. I wanted to talk to you, Adam, real quick. Just a quick question I thought we could both answer before we sign out for today was, with E3 at an end, what was the worst thing for you at E3?
Well, actually, the worst thing dawned on me after seeing the Nintendo 3DS conference was just from what I now understand as almost the complete failure on Sony's part to show me anything for the Vita. Because Nintendo, by having this second conference, came out and pretty much stood behind their product. Now, when I look at that conference and go back to Sony's conference, when they said very little about the Vita, it seems to me, and of course this may not be the case, that they really didn't have the faith in their handheld as Nintendo does. And when they came out there and said, we're Nintendo, we put out the best stuff in portable games, I couldn't argue with that. They're the guys who made the Game Boy. They are portable gaming. And probably for the foreseeable future, we'll still hold that title.
Mm-hmm. For me, it was Nintendo's idealistic focus on the Wii U, which I understand that they want the Wii U to be incredibly successful. But the part that really killed me was the complete lack of applications for that device. It was just... I know we've been touting like the Wii's casual allure this whole time, but I felt like even from a casual audience perspective, they pushed that far into the corner.
They did. And even looking online and seeing people make fake photos about different Pokemon games that they would put on the Wii U, or Zelda games, you have the ideas out there, and you have this group of rabid loyal fans that already knows what they want. And of course, Nintendo knows what the hardcore fans want, but it simply just wasn't there.
And I mean, last year they showed that trailer or that preview, or whatever you want to call it, tech demo of the Zelda game. And
yes.
That didn't not even a mention of that appeared. And I like Pikmin, but by no means is it a killer application. And every new Super Mario Brothers just makes me want to play Super Mario 3.
Yes. The older ones that
Yeah.
I don't have to follow my friend floating around in a bubble.
I just couldn't stand what they had done.
Yeah.
And it really, as somebody who has extremely good, fond childhood memories of Nintendo, watching the Wii U conference really just ripped out all of my childhood.
To me, honestly, for the Wii U conference, I had already completely written off because I was so disappointed with the Nintendo Wii, because I really never played a lot of the Zelda games or a lot of the hardcore games that everyone loved on Nintendo, because all I really had was Mega Man as a kid. So that had moved over to every other platform besides the Nintendo ones.
So if you have an opinion on what the worst moment of E3 was, let us know. If you have any opinion on news we've talked about today, please let us know in the comments below. And for news, previews, reviews, and coverage on your favorite video games, head on over to elder-geek.com and check out what we have to offer. Thank you guys for listening to this edition of Elder Speak, and we hope to see you tomorrow.
See you later.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Elder Speak. It is June 7th, Thursday, and the end of E3 coverage for this week.